Hi students, good morning. Hi Kalyan, Shrani, Uday. While students are joining in, just allow me 1-2 minutes. I will grab a cup of tea and then we'll get started, okay? Back. Whether students have joined in or only good morning guys, will start in 5 minutes. Only 3 students I see online. Ramya, are you there? Hi Shrani. Shall we get started or shall we wait more? Hello. Shall we get started? Attendees 6 now online. Okay, while students are joining in, anyways, today's session content is very less. We'll be covering data control language and the security control language today. Before getting started, maybe we'll get started around 7:20. Do you have any question? People had some question yesterday. I said that we'll be discussing tomorrow. Do you have any questions specifically for me, or shall we go into the ranking function? I can give some example on the rank function, and then we can get started. Shall we get started? I don't get anything, so let's get started. It's good time already. 8-9 minutes gone. So we'll be starting today. Let me get rid of the folder. Pick out the right. First, we'll cover the ranking function today, and then we will talk about the then we'll go into the the security control language and the data control language. These are the two language command. Very easy topic. Data control language you will not be using. You as a developer will not be using unless and until you are joining a company as a administrator. Maybe you might have to leverage, but transaction control language is again very lessly used, but it is important to know, at least from the interview perspective. And also from the usability perspective, we will see a few of the things that will come out. Just a second. One second, please. I did a mistake. Somehow I deleted the slide deck altogether. I'm just trying to figure out. No, I have it. I was looking for the slide deck. Fine. Before going into the transaction control language today, yesterday we are discussing about a topic called as bulk insert, and then before closing the session, I said that I will be talking more about the ranking function tomorrow. Okay, let's understand what are the rank function, how do they do, and how do they work, and what are the purpose of the rank function. Okay, there are so yesterday we actually created a table called as exam result and then loaded data into the table. There are a few rows of data that we inserted. 9 rows. Adam, math, science, and the social science are the 3 subjects for which we have inserted a few rows of data into the table. Now, in case I want to rank student depending upon their score, right? I want to know who is ranking first over other. Then in those cases, we can use a rank over function. Okay, rank is a function by default. If you rank certain rows of data in a table depending on certain other partition. If you are trying to partition the data depending upon certain thing, and then order the data depending upon a certain order, and then you want to create a rank out of that, then you can leverage a rank function that will give you a rank of that particular row. Say for an example, for the sake of understanding, assuming there is these 9 rows of data available on my DB system: Adam, math 70, in maths, if I see Adam scored 70, Rack scored 60, and Sam scored 90. If I have to rank them on depending upon the score in maths, then I definitely see Sam stands 1, followed by Adam, followed by Rack. Is that understanding correct? How do I write the simple query? I can say select star from this, where I know the subject is, this is the subject column, so I will put the subject column equals to where subject column equal to maths. Okay, I would say where subject is maths, where condition applies the filter on the data set, and then I will say order by the number column. Is that correct? That is how we typically write our code. If I have to see the ordering and then I want to see the order by this. Okay, order by ascending or descending. If I want to see the top scorer first, then I will say order by descending first. Okay, let's see who comes first. Sam comes first because Sam scored in maths 90 mark. Adam scored second, stood second because he scored 70, and Rack scored 60, so he stood third. Right? That is how typically ordering happen. But there is a rank function available that can actually give you the same ranking 1, 2, 3 in a different way of writing the code. What I'm trying to do, I'm saying you do select name, subject, and mark. Also, you not only select name, subject, and marks, but also you rank them over. Rank is a function. Over partition by is a keyword. Control Shift U. This is subject is the column name. Then you can say order by Control Shift U, and then you will say order by what column you can say, and then you will say descending or ascending pattern. I will say this is the rank of student, student, rank of student. I will say it is the rank of student, Control C, and then order by rank of student, order by Control Shift U, from Control Shift U, and this is the column name. Okay, let us run this particular query first and then understand what it is typically doing. See, what I say, you display me the name, subject, and marks. Definitely it is displaying me the name, subject, and marks. Okay, then I am saying rank the data depending on partition by subject. Use partition the data row depending upon maths or social science or science. There are 3 partition it is going to create. Then once your partition of the data is done, then you order the data depending upon the marks within this partition. Okay, first you partition the data on subject. So he could identify Sam scored. If I go to the maths partition in the subject wise partition, then I could see Sam is standing rank 1 in the subject maths. I could see Sam standing first in the subject science. I could see Sam standing first in the subject social science, right? If I go to the second rank, Adam standing second in the maths, Adam standing second in the science, Rack standing third, second in the social science. And then these are the score of different student in the third rank, subject wise third rank. Okay. If you have to partition depending upon a subject, order the data depending upon the mark, the best way to do that is the rank function. What rank function typically does, rank needs an over clause, and it needs a bracket to be provided. Okay, look at this particular syntax. Rank needs what? Rank needs a over clause, rank over, partition by. You have to partition the data depending upon a column. So I will say create a partition of the on the subject column. You say in maths tell me who is standing first. In social science tell me who is standing first. That is what my ambition is, right? So what I would say here, what I was doing, I was trying to say in subject math you first order, then you do social science, then you do science, then I could only identify who is standing first, second, and third. But if I want to achieve all this thing in one go, then I would say rank over partition by subject, then order by mark descending. If you see order by mark descending, anyways I was doing, I was writing a where clause to identify in the partition of maths, you tell me the rank. In order to say in all the subject, tell me the rank. This is the way you should define your rank, and then you can order by the column. I have written this particular function will return me a number, and depending upon that particular number, I will actually sort it out. So automatically this 1, 2, 3, 4 is generated by the rank function. Okay. For the study's sake, I will give you this particular thing in the chart window. Please try it out. Pasted the link in the chat. Please try the commands out. Okay. Now we'll see what is the dense rank function does. Okay, we have seen the rank function. Rank function gives you a specific rank when you partition the data depending upon a particular need. Now dense rank also does the same thing, but it will tell you a different perspective. It will give you the rank only, but it is a different kind of ranking it will give. Let's see what typically it does. Again, I will do the same. Over partition by is the keyword. Order by is the clause. Descending is the clause. From is the clause. And order by name is the, order by is the clause. Okay, fine. Let us run this particular dense rank function. What typically it is doing. Let's look at the dense ranking. Okay. Can you see how many ones came out in the previous query? Let me run both the query. Okay. First query is the ranking function. Second is the dense rank function. Okay. I would give the name as dense rank. Dense rank. Dense rank number. Okay. And then control C, and then I will say order by name. Okay. So let's see what is the difference between rank and dense rank. Can you identify what is happening here in the rank and dense rank? Okay, let me tell you what is happening. When I'm using a dense rank, watch the clause. I'm doing a clause over here. Okay, what I'm trying to say, I'm trying to do a dense rank partition by name. Watch out the name part. What is my partition? You partition the data depending upon the name. Okay, order by marks in the descending order. What is my partition function? My partition is on the name, and there are only 3 students. Name is Adam, Sam, and Rack. I partitioned my data depending on the name now. Now my partition is not on the subject. My partition is on the name. Order by the mark descending. Let us understand what is happening. Adam is a student. This second grid is the dense rank function. If you the highlighted result, look at Adam's score. Adam has scored 80 in science, 70 in maths, 60 in social science. If you see the 3 record corresponding to Adam, the highlighted one, just look at the data set. My partition is on name. In the dense rank function, what I am doing, partition it over the name, order by the mark descending. Is that understanding correct? So when I go to the Adam partition, I could see the mark is sorted descending order 80, 70, 60. It could find 3 different mark. That's why it assigned 3 different dense ranking function 1, 2, 3 to the corresponding partition. Is that understanding correct? Up to this point, are you with me? It found 3 different marks, so it assigned 3 different dense ranking function to them 1, 2, 3. Let's go to rack. If for rack, it found 70, 60, 50, 3 different rank in 3 different subject, and it sorted them depending upon my mark descending, and it assigned a rank to them. When it went to Sam, look at the interesting part in Sam. In Sam, it could found 3 subject, math, science, social science. It could find only 2 different marks. It found in 2 subject he's scoring 90, and in one subject he is scoring 80. He didn't find 3 partition, it could find only 2 partition. So if you see, it could only assign whenever it will find the same frequency of number 90 and 90 for 2 different partition, it will give them the dense rank of 1 because my order by clause is on the marks clause. If both the mark is equal, it will put the equal weightage on the dense ranking function. It could put equal weightage on the dense ranking function, and the second number will come with the number 2. It will not say 1 1 3. It will not say. There are 3 rows, so I was hoping that I will see 3 rank. It counted only 2 rank. Why? Because it found there are 2 equal data set. That is where it could find only 1 and 1 being the dense rank to that particular thing. Okay. Rank function always give you unique number 1 2 3 for the equal subject, whereas the dense rank function gives you the same number if it same rank if it find the same number for the same partition. That is what is the difference between the dense rank and rank function. Clear up to this point, student? Anybody having any questions or doubts? Please unmute and speak, please. Any question? Dense rank over the exact data. If it finds the same data, it gives the same number. Rank function, if it finds the same data, still it is, last time my group was on subject, not on the name. Okay, I can actually do that also. Let's see, partition by name here also I can apply. Let's see what happens. For Sam, where is Sam? Sam, Adam, partition by name, order by marks. But I did the order by, here the order by name, here the order by was, no, I should do one thing. I should not do any change in this. Let's copy paste the same query. Copy paste the same query, rank it over the name. The other partition is here name. I will do the partition in the same name. Here the order by is on the name. I will do the order by in the name. Okay. Let's run both the query. Okay. Can you see here when I am using the rank function for Sam in the ranking function, it found 3 rows. It found what? Sam 1, 90, 90, 80. First row 1, second row 1, third row it jumped through 3. Because it found 3 rows, it thought I should have assigned 1, 2, 3, but because 90, 90 are 1, it assigned 1 and 1, but it found 80, so it jumped to 3. It counted one of the 1 and 1 as 2. It counted one of the 1 as 2, but it did not write it as 2. And it found 80, that is the third row, it assigned a value 3. Whereas in the dense rank for the same SAM, for the same partition, it assigned 1 and 1, it counted the next value as 2. Can you find out the difference now? Is it very clear? For the highlighted 3 rows of data in the last part of the ranking function, for the highlighted same set of data in the dense rank function. Clear about the rank and dense rank up to this point? Anyone having any question, any doubt? Dense rank counts the frequency. If it finds the same rank, it counts the same number, and the next number will be the previous number plus 1. Rank function, if it finds the same number, it counts same, but it internally also count how many rows it given the assignment. So it found 1 and 2 rows has been assigned the rank of 1. So the next number will be given the rank of 3. Why? Because there are 2 rows already assigned with 1. So next number will be 3. Clear about that? Okay, now let's move to the entile part. Okay, entile is a function that you can, on your own, you can distribute your group into multiple partition. Say for an example, again, over partition by is control shift U, order by is the clause, descending is the clause, from is the clause, and order by is the class here. Control Shift U, Control S. Let's do the end tile now. What I'm saying, I want to give every other uh, first thing I want to understand for sure. Over partition by is a keyword. Over, after that you are writing a bracket. In this particular bracket you are saying partition by. I'm trying to give a end tile on the partition of name order by the marks descending. That is what anyways it will do. What I want to do, order by the name first. You create a partition on the name. So create a partition on the Adam first, then by rack, then followed by Sam. Okay. And then I am trying to do end tile. End tile function actually give you a tiling number. What does the tiling number means? Do remember, in Adam, I want to create two rows of partition. Okay. First two rows, I'm doing the mark in the descending order first. Okay. Uh, in Adam, if I actually do the maths in the descending order, so science and maths will come in the first two subject. Is that correct? 80, 70, and 60. Just look at these first three data row. If I sort the data depending upon the marks, then for Adam, 80 and 70 come as the first two row. Social science comes as the third row. Is that correct? I am saying you entile it over every two row you give a new rank. So what it did, 80 and 70 are first two set of data, so it is giving 1 as the first group rank. 60 come as the third data set, it will give the second quartile data as 2. I'm giving a quartile as the column name. I'm saying the second set of the data is 60. I will go to the rack for the same. Rack has scored 70, 60, and 50. So 70 and 60 come as the first group. Is that correct? Because I'm doing a rank over entile over the two. Every two row will get the same name. So 70 and 60 are one group. That means he is strong at maths and social science, but not strong in science. That is what I'm trying to figure out. Tell me his two strong subject and one weak subject. Out of the three subject, I want to identify. Tell me the top two subject. If somebody want to understand those, then entile is the objective that you should leverage. Now I'm going to Sam. Sam has 90, 90, and 80. So I could figure out he is strong in 1990. So you got 1 as the partition number, and social science you got the partition number as 80. Now just watch if I change the entile from 2 to 3. So now the same function will work, but all the top three subject and his strength will come out. Okay. Let us verify for the Adam. I went into how many brackets now? Three bracket, top three bracket. So if you go for exactly three partition, there are three subject, three partition, right? In that case, you will see three different number coming out. 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Can you see that? Even if Sam has scored 3, 90, 90, 80, it is giving 90 as 1, 90 as second subject, 80 as third subject. So entile says how many partition of the groups you want to create. If I say entile 1, that means every one subject will be considered as one of the ranking number. Can you see? Because you are doing a partition on the name and you are going for the every mark as in the sorted order, your quartile is coming for every sorting. I am giving a ranking number as 1, 1, 1. Because I don't know, Adam has only 3 score. For every subject, I'm independently looking at the data set. So 70 is also okay, 80 is also okay, 60 is also okay. Entile actually clubs up two rows of data or three rows of data, and then you study the data pattern depending upon that grouping. If I see entile 2, so what I'm saying, you group the result depending on the name. For every two rows of data, you assign a number. That is where I could actually show you the clarity. If I group every top two record is 70 and 80 is top two record for Adam. That is where it is getting 1 and 1. Third subject is 60, so he's getting a 2. So entile actually groups the data and then assign a number to that. Okay. Now there is a function known as row number. The out of this all this function, the highest used function is the row number function. So what you should remember is the row number function for sure. Okay. Okay. This is the part that you should definitely remember. Pretty straightforward. I want to give a unique row number for each of my result set. Row number function does what? I will say row number over order by name. You will order the data on the name column and give a row number, unique row number to each of the result set, right? Row number function is used to generate a serial number. That means if you do not have an ID column in a particular table and you want to generate a unique number against each of the result set, then use the row number to generate a row number of this data set. It doesn't do any kind of partitioning. First, it will order the data set depending upon certain pattern, and then depending upon that pattern, you will actually see the number start coming out. It generates a serial number on the data set. Okay. So I'm saving the data. I'm just trying to upload the data in the file in the Slack. Just allow me one moment. Uh, I uploaded the yesterday's file one more time. Please get the data file from the Slack. Okay. From here, that is what the ranking function typically do, and you can use this ranking function for computing different options. Any questions by far students on the rank function? We'll move to the data control language and security control language today from after that, and that will conclude the SQL. We'll spend some time answering your question if you have, and starting tomorrow, we'll go into the Postgre as the session. Any questions? Clear? Uday saying clear, sir. Thank you. Okay, let's move to the easy part. Last two command stacks, like when we started studying about SQL, structured query language, in ANSI, there are 5 sublanguages. We completed 3 sublanguage by far, right? We studied about data definition language that is used for creating, altering, modifying, dropping the container or the objects within SQL Server. DDL contains 5 commands: create, alter, drop, rename, truncate. Then we have studied about data manipulation language. Data manipulation language command are 4 command: insert, update, delete, and merge are the 4 command. Then we have started studying data query language. Only one command available within the select data query language. Only one command, that is the select command. Now we'll study, there are 2 more command stack. One is known as the data control language and other is known as the transaction control language. So let us understand. We have seen this particular form some or the other way, but we will do the exercise right now to understand more in detail about that particular thing. Okay. What exactly a transaction control language mean? What is the purpose of the transaction control language and where you should use? Okay. Are you able to see my screen? Very less content, very easy and sweet topic. So we will cover it out. Do remember the TCL is the shortcut for the transaction control language. 3 command available within transaction control language. One is the begin transaction. That is the marker that I am starting an explicit transaction. Do remember, in SQL Server, there are 2 types of transaction. One is known as the implicit transaction. Other is known as the explicit transaction. Begin transaction is the marker. If you want to take some note, I didn't write it in the presentation. If you want to take some notes, please take some notes. In transaction control language, 2 types of transaction. One is a implicit, IMPLICIT, implicit. That means automatically, even if you don't do any transaction, SQL Server automatically start a transaction, complete a transaction. That is known as implicit. That means even if you don't write, automatically SQL Server hiddenly does it for you. Implicit. Explicit, that means user want to control the transaction. In that case, it is an explicit transaction. Okay. In SQL Server, for handling the explicit transaction, user want to control his transaction. What he want to do? He want to update, but he want to control that. I want to make sure if I feel update query runs completely, correctly, it modifies the data absolutely correctly, then only I want to complete the transaction, else I want to roll back the transaction. Okay. If user want to control the transaction, in that particular case, the transaction is known as explicit transaction. In SQL Server, the explicit transaction, to handle explicit transaction, there are only three commands. Begin transaction, that is a marker that I'm starting a transaction. Commit is the marker that say complete the transaction. Rollback is a marker that say revert the transaction. These are the three straightforward word. Okay. What is TCL command? These commands are used for manipulating consistency, maintaining the consistency of the database for the management of transaction made by DML command. Typically not the only DML, but also DDL. We'll see it. Also DML slash DDL command. Okay. Control S. Now let's move to the syntax. Straightforward. You start writing a begin tran, then you will do any kind of DDL, DML within that. Then you have the option of either going for a commit or rollback. Okay. Begin transaction, any explicit transaction. Whenever you want to control the transaction, say begin space transaction, and after that you would say commit or rollback. Okay. Now let us go back. I will talk about the commit and rollback. First, we'll do a data prep, and then we'll see how this commit rollback work. Okay. Let me copy this particular code into a script window. We'll go here and then hit enter. I will try to copy this. Okay. Do remember, any explicit transaction must start with the begin run code block. Okay. I want to create a table called as employees3. Okay, because I have an employee table, I want to create a transaction. I want to create a table known as employees3. Look at the tables. Let the tables come up. In the left side, I hit a refresh, so it'll come up in some time. What I'm trying to do, I'm putting a marker. I want to control my transaction. I want to create a table within this particular transaction. It is a DDL. Create table is a DDL command. I want to insert a few rows of data into the employees table as well. Okay, insert a few rows of the data into the table, and after that I want to verify the data. If it looks okay, then I want to commit the transaction or I want to revert the transaction. Select star from employees3. Okay, this is what I want to do. So how do I start a transaction? I will say begin transaction. I will say begin transaction. Done. Now I am controlling my transaction. Controlling the transaction means whether I will create the table, whether I want to roll back the entire thing. That is under my control now. Now SQL Server, if I go even into the SQL Server, it will not be able to create the table immediately. Okay, I'm creating a transaction. I am saying create table employee3, execute. Within the transaction block, I created a table. Within the transaction block, I will try to insert the table into the data into the table. 4 rows of data inserted. I want to verify the data in the table. 4 rows of data inserted. Okay, 4 rows of data inserted. After that, I have two decision maker command. One is the commit command, one is the rollback command. Okay, two decision making. If I say commit, then this entire table, that employee3 table that I created, and the data that I inserted in the table will be permanently going into SQL Server memory, or it will go be written into the SQL Server master database where the data is resided. If I do the commit means complete the action that I completed just now. Rollback is a command that is the marker to SQL Server. Whatever I did, forget about it, revert all the thing that I did. I created a table, I inserted 4 rows of data. I want to revert it back. I want to give an instruction to SQL Server. Please ignore. So let me do the rollback first. I am highlighting the rollback here. Highlighted rollback, execute. Okay. I started a begin run. Then I am doing at the end, I am doing a rollback. Okay. Rollback means what? Revert whatever you did. Revert whatever you did. Okay. Commit means what? Complete whatever you did. Okay, that is what a commit and rollback does. So now I hit the rollback transaction and I'm going to write this particular select query. What happened? It is saying invalid object name employee 3. Why the invalid object employee 3 came? Just a second ago, we created a table, we inserted few rows of data into the table, we hit the select query, and it worked perfectly fine. It was showing me all the data within the table stack, right? But I did a rollback after that, that entire object is not there. What happened? Do remember, when you start a transaction within a control flow, you are starting a explicit transaction within this particular control flow. Okay, explicit transaction, transaction marker. Okay, you are saying I SQL Server do not just create the table immediately. Hold on till I say and I confirm that the table need to be created. Okay, I am creating the transaction block. Okay, and then I can create the table within that. It is a DDL command. I can insert a few rows of data into the table is the DML command stack. I can see the data in the table perfectly fine. I reverted. I said SQL Server, whatever I did, roll back. Forget about whatever I did. I roll back, object gone. What did you learn? Rollback transaction rolls back the entire operation that you did within the begin transaction. Okay. We have seen this particular behavior that if you are doing some study, self-study for the delete and truncate, I want to iterate. If you are doing some self-study and you have studied somewhere, truncate command cannot be rolled back, delete can be rolled back. Do remember, truncate also can be rolled back. I wanted to show you that if you have studied that statement in interview, never say that, because if you do that, it will be an error message that you are passing back. Okay, let us verify. I'm saying create a table, insert a few rows of data, select the data from table, truncate table now, truncate table, employee 3, again do the select star. Okay, we'll do the same exercise one more time. We'll go to the begin run, highlight, execute, create a table within the transaction block, insert few rows of data into the table, show me the data that is inserted into the table. There are 4 rows of data. I want to truncate the table. DDL executed successfully. Then I want to show the data. Select star from employee 3. I want to roll back. Roll back. The table gone and all the operation within that particular exercise gone. So when somebody say you cannot do transaction control language, sorry, you cannot do transaction within the truncate command, answer is absolutely wrong. The delete command can be rolled back, truncate command can also be rolled back. Both the operation can be rolled back if you are doing it within a transaction block. So the statement, if you have studied it somewhere, that the truncate command cannot be rolled back, the answer is wrong. Okay, truncate command can also be rolled back and delete command can also be rolled back if you are doing it within a transaction. Now let us complete our another study. Let me just do a refresh one more time. Let's see whether it is coming. Okay, I tried creating this employee 3 and then I am continuously doing a rollback. I want to verify whether employee 3 object is getting created or not. I see employee, I see employee 2, I see employees, employee 1. I don't see employee 3. Why? Because I'm rolling back. Rolling back means what? Whatever I do will be reverted. SQL Server is not creating those objects. I'm giving an instruction, forget about it. In case I want to create permanently and persistently, begin run, execute, create table employee 3, execute. Because it is within a transaction, if I do a refresh, let's see what happens. It will not work. Why? Because when you are starting a transaction, it is actually giving an instruction to the SQL Server, please lock the object right now. I'm doing some operation. It will see lock request timeout. It will be again and again saying transaction is a deadly command. So I will talk about a few pointer to remember. When you are doing any exercise within a transaction, you are instructing SQL Server, hold on and listen to my operation because I'm trying to do something and I want to control that entire transaction, what is happening within the block. I am creating a table. It is not going to be persistently stored. I want to insert a few rows of data. I want to commit this transaction now. I want to show select star and then I want to do a commit here. Commit means what? Commit means an instruction to SQL Server that please now go ahead and create the object within the SQL Server. Can you now see employee 3 is now, employee 3 object is available now permanently. If I now do the select star, it will always be there, right? Now I will go ahead with a begin tran. I will not try to do anything rather than doing a truncate table. Somebody said that, sorry, somebody said that truncate table cannot be used within a transaction block. I truncated the table. I did a select star. There should not be any data, but I roll back the transaction. All the data that was truncated will come back. Magic, begin tran, truncate table, all data rows gone, roll back, all data come back. Clear about the transaction control language, the behavior, what typically TCL does? Can I get some yes no's please? Or if you have any doubts, please raise your hand because it is pretty straightforward. What the commit and rollback does, rollback reverts the transaction, commit completes the transaction and make it permanent. Any question by far? Sai Vijay is saying got it. Uday is saying clear sir. Fine, thank you. Okay, let's move to the next part of the transaction control language. The second part, it is an interview question also. Okay, we will study about the nested transaction. Nested transaction. What is the nested transaction? Control R. What we will do, we have a customer table. So we'll to create a new table called as customer 2. Okay, I'm trying to create a table called as customer 2, create table customer 2. I will have a customer ID, customer code and customer name. Okay, I want to first create the table. Let's go ahead and do that. Now, what is a nested transaction? A transaction within a transaction is known as a nested transaction. What is a nested transaction? Transaction within another transaction is a nested transaction. That is what a nested transaction means. Okay, one transaction will start here. Within that particular transaction, I am starting another transaction here. Look at this particular method. Okay, this is known as a nested transaction and it is a tricky question. Okay, now how do you do the nested transaction? You have to say begin transaction. Anyways, begin tran or begin transaction, both are same. Here also the begin tran is a shortcut, or you can completely say begin transaction or shortcut begin tran. It doesn't matter. Begin tran works, begin transaction also works. Both of them are the right keyword. Tran is the short form of the transaction. Okay. Begin transaction and I will give the transaction a name. I will say transaction 1. Then I will do insert into customer a few value 10 and 11 rows, code 10 code Ramesh and Suresh data set is getting inserted. Then I'm saying begin transaction T2. Within the transaction T1, I am starting a begin transaction T2. Can you see that? Then I'm inserting 2 more rows of data 12 and 13. Okay. I am trying to, there is a server variable available when you are doing the transaction is known as the tran count. That means how many transactions are running at a given point in time will be available in the server variable tran count. It will give you the transaction count as 2. Why? It is one transaction, this is another transaction. It will give you the transaction count as 2. I am saying for this block, can you just watch this particular highlighted block? I am saying begin transaction T2, you do some insert, commit transaction T2. Okay, this I'm saying a commit the internal transaction. Okay, then I'm saying print the total transaction count. One transaction is committed, so it will come back to 1. Now I will say commit transaction T1. This is the permanent marker for the total transaction commit. Okay, we'll see this particular behavior and then we'll understand what is happening. I will say, let's see this particular behavior and then you will understand what is happening here. Is it customer ID, INT, primary key, supplied values does not match? Just a second, I want to verify. Oh yeah, because my table name is customer 2 and I'm trying to insert into customer. That's why. Customer 2, customer 2, customer 2, customer 2. Okay. Again, we'll do the begin run through. One row affected, 210. Can you see that? What are coming out? It is starting the transaction. I could actually do something here. I can say print tran1 transaction T1 started. Transaction T1 START started. I can copy the same command. The transaction T2 started. Here I can say transaction T2 completed. And here I could say transaction T1 completed. Okay. Now let's run through the command and verify what is happening. Okay, because I am doing the duplicate key, sorry about that. I will do a truncate first. Truncate table, customer ID, Control C, or I will say drop table, remove the primary key. Drop table the customer 2, Control C, execute. I will remove this primary key keyword here, delete, and then I will re-execute the table. Create a table, customer 2, customer ID, these 3 column. Fine. Now I will start my begin transaction walk. Okay, I can see transaction 1 started here. I'm saying hitting this particular block. Then I will insert 2 rows of data. You can see first row and second row getting inserted. 2 rows. These 2 rows get inserted. So that's why you are seeing one row affected. Then you are saying begin transaction T2. So you will see transaction T2 started here. Then there are 2 rows of insert happening. After that, you are saying print the number of transaction here. 2. Can you see number of transaction is printed as 2? Why? Transaction 1 started, transaction 2 started. It is saying at the rate run count is saying total 2 number of transactions are available. Then I am saying commit transaction T2. Transaction T2 completed. Okay, transaction T2 completed. After that, if out of 2 transaction 1 is completed, how many remaining? 1 is remaining. So I'm printing this one. It is saying number of transaction remaining is 1. After that, I am saying commit transaction T1. I will say print transaction T1 is completed. Clear about that? Okay. Now let us verify one more thing. Yeah. Just a minute. I'm just trying to do one example for you. Just a second. Okay, this is a good example. Okay, let's see. We have seen the temp tables. There is nothing to explain. Hash table, any table with a hash sign is a temp table. So let us do this exercise. It is a nested transaction. I will delete this block because it will create confusion here. Delete it. Yeah. Can you see here? Control C, update, begin transaction, update, control shift U, rollback transaction. What I will do, I will say it is a begin transaction, first marker. So do the update as a tab. Then you start the second transaction. Then you do another transaction within transaction. Then you do rollback within this transaction. Then you do update for the master transaction. Then you do commit transaction, and then we'll see what is happening. Okay. This is an interview question. This particular specific scenario is an interview question. Do remember, you are trying to do what? Two transactions you are starting. You are creating a temp table. You are inserting a few, you want to insert a few rows of data into the table. Here I'm trying to insert a row called as 1 into the table. After that, we are doing begin transaction, outer transaction, commit transaction. This is the commit for the outer transaction. Then I'm trying to enter into the script block for the transaction block. Transaction block start here, highlighted line. Transaction block ends at this highlighted line. Okay. I'm trying to update the column value equals to 2. First value I inserted is 1. I will show you the data, what is the value available over here. Select star from hash T. Okay. Let's see. Up to this point, we can see it. The value is 1 within the table and the column name is column 1. Correct. Now let us start a transaction, begin transaction. Within the transaction block, what I want to do, update the value of the T2 from T in column 1 from 1 to 2. If I do this, select the value here. Every time you do the transaction, you show me the data, whatever value is there within the transaction block. Initial value was 1. Now within the transaction block, I changed it to 2. After that, I'm starting another transaction. Transaction has started. Then I did update. Then I'm doing another transaction now. Then I'm doing update the temp table, set the value of column 1 to 3. The previous value was 2. Now I'm trying to do it to 3. Okay, fine. After that, I want to do a rollback transaction. So rollback happened. So now you remember, we started the journey at insertion of the value as 1. We have seen the value was 1. Then we started the begin transaction. After that, we changed the value from 1 to 2. Then we did another transaction, begin transaction. Then we changed the value from 2 to 3. Now I am doing a rollback transaction. What will happen? What would be the value of column at this point in time? Will it be 2 or will it be 3 or what would be the value now? Do remember here, students, this is an interview question and tricky interview question. Once you hit a rollback transaction within your nested transaction, all your transaction blocks are rolled back. Okay. Begin transaction, watch this particular form. Okay. You are doing a begin transaction. You are hitting another begin transaction. Wherever you are hitting a rollback clause or a rollback transaction clause, rollback works, rollback transaction also works. Both of them work. Okay. Begin tran work, begin transaction work. In SQL Server, both of the form work. Okay. Begin transaction, again begin transaction. That means you have initiated two transaction. You are doing a rollback. Rollback mean you roll back all the transactions above. Okay. When you do the rollback, it will roll back all the previous transaction value. And when you hit to, you must be thinking that I will do the commit transaction for the first transaction. There is nothing remaining. So let us understand what will happen now. I will highlight all of them and see there will be an error. Can you see that? Commit transaction request doesn't have a begin transaction. Why? Because the commit transaction here, I'm trying to do the commit transaction, but I actually in between wrote a rollback transaction. Rollback transaction behavior is whenever the rollback is hit, any transaction that was initiated before will all be rolled back. It doesn't count how many. It doesn't count that I'm going to do the rollback only for this block. Whenever a rollback is hit, a rollback always roll back previous all transactions. One rollback command and it roll back all the previous transactions. Okay. So even if you are writing another commit transaction, you thought like I will be doing begin tran, then I will be doing begin tran, then I will do rollback, then I will do commit, because every begin tran has a rollback or a commit pair, right? So you are doing the internal transaction rollback, final transaction commit. That will not work. If the internal transaction is a commit, then it is all gone. Final transaction is a rollback, possible. Final transaction is a possible. Let's see. I will say commit here and rollback transaction in the reverse direction. This is the interview question. In between, if you write a rollback, what happens? Interview question, intermediate rollback. Intermediate rollback. Okay. This part is an interview question, whereas this part is a valid scenario. Control C. I will do the reverse field now. I will do, instead of rollback transaction, I will do the commit here, and then I will try to do the control shift U. I will do the commit here and I will try to do the rollback here. Let's see what happens here. Does it work or not? Let us verify. Okay, let us highlight all this code and see what happens. This particular code block executed perfectly successfully without any error message or anything, right? Previously, when we are doing the rollback in for the internal, you see begin transaction, one transaction block started, begin transaction, another transaction block started. There is a commit issued in between. There is a rollback issued at the end, right? Rollback for the outer transaction. This is the outer transaction, rollback for the outer transaction, commit for the internal transaction. What happened? We started with a value 1. We did a commit for the value. So the value must have changed to 3. Then we did a rollback of the value. What was the final value then, student? What do you think? We started with a value 1. In between, we committed a value to 3. Then we rolled back the value. What would be the value? Final value that will be available within the table. It will be entire rollback. So the value will be, final value will be 1. Why? Because even if, do remember, the scope of a nested transaction lies with the final transaction block. The scope of a nested transaction lies with the final transaction block. What does that mean? Even if your internal transaction is doing a commit, but outer transaction is doing a rollback, that means the final total transaction value will be rolled back. The scope of a transaction is entirely controlled by the outer transaction. Can you take a note, please? Scope of the transaction is controlled by an outer transaction. So if your outer transaction says I am trying to roll back the transaction, all internal path will be rolled back. Even if you have written a commit within, it will be rolled back by the outer transaction. So do remember, this particular part is also a tricky question. What happens if you if interview question, what happens when you roll back outer transaction? That means entire transaction is rolled back outer transaction. So I will save this query as this is transaction control language, TCL, transaction control language, and today's session is 20. Okay, fine. This is all about the transaction control language. Very straightforward command. Only 3 command: begin, run, commit, or rollback. If you want to control the explicit transaction, then leverage the commit, begin transaction, commit, and rollback. Few point to remember: whenever you are dealing with the transaction, try to make your transaction shorter. That means if you start begin transaction, try to complete your transaction by writing very small amount of insert, update, delete query within the transaction, because the transaction has the potential of creating deadlock. Deadlock is a situation where you are creating a transaction but you are not completing the transaction with a very small amount of time. So any other query trying to read the data from the same table will not be able to access the data path. Let me show you how. Do remember, we are in the query window 60. Okay, query window 60. There is a table created called as employee 3. I'm doing a begin run, execute. I am trying to insert into employee 3 a few rows of data. I want go to another. I went to another window and try to select star from. I will go to another window and write select star from employee 3. Can you see it is going in a executing query mode? It is not returning my any data. Are you seeing my screen here on the bottom side? In the yellow, it is saying executing query. In the red button is still on. It is executing, executing, executing. It will never give you the data. The reason being, I have initiated a begin transaction block here. I am working on the employee 3 table. I have inserted a few rows of data, but I did not take an action. What action I should have taken? Commit or rollback action I should have taken. Okay. But because I am not committing a rollback, other query who is trying to access the same data, he is not able to read the data. Can you see it is not completing at all? If I commit a rollback, automatically the data will be available to the other person. Look at that. I'm issuing a rollback. Other query completed immediately. Can you see that? Other query immediately completed. The bigger part of a transaction is, once your transaction start on a particular table, till you complete your transaction, any other queries executed against that particular table will not be able to fetch the data. That creates a deadlock situation. In order to avoid a deadlock situation, you should complete your transaction as quickly as possible. That is the point to remember. Okay, it might create deadlock issues. There is another also point to look at is, when you do the begin transaction, I will do the begin transaction. I will insert a few rows of data into the table. I will not do commit or rollback. Let us do not commit or rollback. Okay, I will go to the other query window. I know that if I try to execute the query right now, it will throw error. We have seen this particular pattern. But I want to say, okay, you give me, if any transaction is running, I don't want to go into a indefinite loop till the transaction complete. I can still write a clause with no lock, LOCK, with no lock. You can do this particular operation in order to avoid any transaction level deadlock happening. We've seen that behavior, right? We started a transaction, somebody has not completed it. Some DML is running, some transaction is running, and if you try to read the data, it will not give you the data. But do remember, in order to avoid any transaction related locking, you can write a code known as with no lock. That will ensure, if a transaction is right now modifying the data, I don't care. Show me the data before the transaction. If you want to do that, you can still run the query and you will be able to see the data. Can you see? One transaction is running and inserting 4 rows of data. I wrote select star from the employee table, give me the data set. There are 8 rows of data. I will go back to this transaction. I will go and do roll back my transaction. Ideally 4 rows were there. I tried inserting 4 rows. So in between, somebody tried to read the data. He found 8 rows. I rolled back the transaction. Now he is trying to query the data, 4 rows. Can you see? Intermediately, 4 rows, he was able to see it. There was no lock, so he could see what the transaction is doing. He read some misfeed. Now the table is having only 4 rows of data. Why? Because I started a transaction, I rolled back. During the transaction, I inserted 4 rows. This other guy read it. Now he is getting the in between data field. This particular operation is also known as dirty read. DIRTY, dirty read. Dirty read means what? That means during the transaction, if some operation is happening, there is a possibility there will be no lock, but you may read some garbage value. You may read some garbage value. I'm showing the example one more time. Go to the transaction. Actually, table has 4 rows. Is that correct? Every time you run the query, we are seeing 4 rows. Going into a transaction, inserting a few rows. Say for an example, I want to insert only 2 rows. Coming back out of the transaction here, with no lock is used. He is able to see 2 more rows inserted. 6 rows are there. 2 more rows. I go back to the transaction, roll back the transaction. That means the 2 rows that I inserted, I felt like I don't need it. I roll back. The other guy read it as 6 rows. Can you see that? This is the dirty read. These 2 rows are actually gone because somebody has already rolled back. That means this query has in between read these two values while the transaction was running on the table. Because it's read these two table that is insignificant and has no value, these 2 rows are known as the dirty read operation fetch or garbage rows. Okay. Now if I will run the query, I will see only 4 rows because transaction has reverted. Clear about this particular concept now? Clear? Any question, any doubt? Okay, fine. Now, Salih, take a 2 minutes break, student, and then we'll complete the security control language. We have only 2 commands to cover, grant and revoke. In transaction control language, 3 commands, begin tran as a marker, commit to complete, roll back to revert. And data control language are only 2 commands, grant and revoke, and we'll see the example of a grant and revoke. And I wanted to tell you, data control language is the administrative command. It is never going to be used by you. You are just studying for the purpose of knowing about this particular command. But in your practical example, if you are going and joining a company as a database developer or a data engineer, you will not be using that command ever. Okay, it is for the sake of learning, so we'll complete that particular command quickly. Straightforward command one. I'll show you how exactly you can control access to your data object. That is where the data control language is used. Allow me 2 minutes. I will grab a bottle of water and then come back and get started. Okay, it will take 20 minutes and then we'll close the session. Just a minute, okay? I'll be back. Students, back. Any questions by far? All clear? Any doubts? The last session of the SQL today we'll study right now, that is data control language. Like the name says, it is data control language. Means what? That you will say, how do you control the access to the data? Okay, in SQL Server, you every day when you connect to the SQL Server, you must be doing this. Okay, connect to the database engine. Then you are saying the server name and Windows authentication or the SQL authentication to choose to connect to the database. Do you remember? Like I said, it is not a database programming concept. It is a concept around the database administration. Who can access the data? What he can access. That is what is known as data control language. Who can and how can? Who can, how can, and how much he can. There are three possibilities that you are looking from the data control language perspective. Okay, who can, how he can, and how much he can. If you want to implement those kind of security control language, then the data control language gives you the flexibility. They have only two commands: grant or revoke. Okay, command wise it is straightforward, but but to un, but to understand the but to understand the concept what we need to do is this. Okay, what we need to understand is, let us understand, I want to connect to the database and I will go into my security node. Watch my SQL Server Management Studio. I will go to the security node of my database server. Okay. Within the security node of my database server, there is something called as login. I will explain what the login look like, but look at the logins. Okay. I will create a new login. What I'm doing, you can do alongside also. Go connect to your database server, connect to the security, go to the logins, right click on the login, say new login. Okay. Once you hit new login, there are two possibilities. You will say Windows authentication or a SQL authentication. Always choose SQL authentication as the login name. Write your login name. I want to say training. I will say it is data engineering. DE stands for data engineering. Batch 3. Batch 3. This is the login name that I want to do. DE batch 3. This is the login name that I wanted to create. I want to give a password. I will read the password. Password is um, what do I say? ASDFGH. Sorry. And then I will confirm password. Then I will not enforce password policy. Then I will go to the server role. I will give him no access. I will go to the user mapping. I will select study database. I will grant him DB owner role. DB owner means DBO role. I'm giving this particular study 3 DBO rights. And no, I will not give him any rights. Let's not give him. Okay. I'm just creating a login. DE data engineering batch 3. Data engineering batch 3 is the login. Password I have created and I'm doing nothing. I will hit OK. Okay. Now I will connect to the database engine. Try connecting using SQL Server mechanism, SQL authentication, because I have created it. I will use DE batch 3 as the username. DE batch 3 as the username. And I will give a password as ASDFGH and hit connect. It connected to the SQL Server. Okay. I have created a user whose username is DE batch 3, whose password is ASDFGH. I could connect to the database server. Now I will go into the databases. He could see the study database. He could read the study database and all the tables also. Let's see whether he could read the tables or not. Just a second, please. for my table to get loaded. Just wait for that, because just a second. Okay, it is going in a hung state, so unresponsive. Yeah, just watch. Now it has loaded. Can you see any tables underneath? We used a login called as D batch 3. I have created a D batch 3 and I didn't grant him any permission. He could connect to the study database. He doesn't see any tables, but actually there are so many tables available within that study database. Can you see that? When I'm logging as an admin, I can see all the table, whereas this particular user who connected to the database, he couldn't see a single table here. Can you see that? What I want to do, I want to grant, now I want to study my security control language. So what I will do, I will go and open a new query window. This is anyways open, so we'll leverage this particular query window to practice our data control language query. There are two commands available within this particular query window. Do remember, data control language has only two commands. One is known as the grant command, one is known as the revoke command. One is grant, one is revoke. These are only two commands available. What are these two commands meant for? Let me show you the data control language and the structure of it, and that will give you some more clarity. Okay, data control language has only grant and revoke command. Data control language commands grants you privilege on certain object. That means who can access what data. Do remember, DCL is meant for who can access what data. That is what the purpose of a data control language. Okay, grant, as the name suggests, grant mean you grant the permission, grant certain privilege to certain user. Revoke command, like the word in English suggests, revoke mean I want to revoke certain permission from certain user. These are the structure of this particular command stack. Okay, how do you do this particular thing? You will say grant, uh, I will, where is my syntax here? Grant a specific privilege on a specific object or to a specific role. Okay, let us see what that particular thing means. I created knowingly or unknowingly one user login name called as de batch 3. What I want to do now, I will say you grant select on, look at the command what I'm trying to do here. I'm saying grant select on, select is the privilege. Okay, select on which table I want to grant to. I want to grant select on customer table to DE batch 3. I created a login known as DE batch 3. This guy has logged on to the SQL server, but he is not able to see a single thing here. He doesn't have access to my DB system. He is not able to see anything here. What I want to do, I want to grant him access to the customer table. I'm saying grant select. There are what privileges? Select, insert, update, delete. These are operations that you can do, right? Select, insert, update, delete privilege on the customer table inside the study database to the DE batch 3 login. Grant privilege on object to login. That is how the grant command is written. I'm again repeating. Grant privilege. Privileges select, insert, update, delete. Grant privilege on, grant privilege on which object, what object you want to grant privilege on, to which user you want to grant privilege to. Okay, that is the syntax. Execute. Command completed successfully. Now this guy, when he connected, now he should be able to see. Let's see what he is able to see now. I have granted a privilege to him saying you can do select operation to this customer table. Let's see what happens. You can do the operation alongside so that you can see things. Are you practicing alongside? Okay, I have granted access to this guy. Now what I will go and do, I will connect to the study database from this login, this guy DB de batch 3. I will open a query. I will say select star from customer table. Can you see he is able to select the data from the customer table? Who is able to select the data from the customer table? If you see, it is DE batch 3. Can you see this particular login here? DE batch 372. I have highlighted in the bottom side of the yellow window here in the taskbar. Can you see that? Can you see this DE batch 3 login name here? He is able to select the data from the customer table. But if he is trying to select the data from any other table, what he is going to get? Select star from. Whether he will be able to select the data from product table. Can you see he is not able to do anything other than the customer table? He cannot select data from any other table. Why? Because he can't see what is there. We have not granted him access to any of the our tables, products, nothing is accessible. Can you see that? So typically in the database programming world and the administrative world, there are the two commands that a database administrator typically leverage. What he will do, he will create a login name. Then he will, this is the login name that we created in the first part, right? First we created a login name called as D batch 3. Then I'm granting a privilege of select, insert or update operation on the D batch 3 to the specific object. Okay. Now he can read the data. This guy can read the data. Can he insert data into the table? Let's see. Insert into customer. Customer is a big table. Is that correct? Yeah, customer is a big table. Let's try do it. Insert into customer. And then I will try to insert a few rows saying customer ID is, last customer ID is how much? 93. So let's insert a customer called as 94. Then I will first name Rahul. Last name Dravid. City Bangalore. Country India. Phone number 91987654321. Okay, and close. Insert into this and insert into need a values clause. Let us try and insert this record. He's saying you cannot explicitly insert a column into the table. So I know this particular error. An explicit value for the identity cannot be specified. When does it come? When you are trying to insert a value for the 94, you need to insert this value. Can you see that insert permission was denied on the customer study to this particular user? It is clearly saying that you can read the data, you cannot do anything other than that. I created this particular login called as DE batch 3. I granted only select permission on the customer object. He can only see the customer object. He cannot do anything other than seeing the data. That is how the permission management happens in the SQL Server. What did I say? Data control language. Make sure who can do what within the database ecosystem. Though DE batch 3 logs into the database ecosystem, he cannot see anything other than the customer table. Can you see? Though there are hundreds of tables available in the study database, this guy who logged in with the login credential of DE batch 3, he can only see the customer table. Why? Because database admin has granted only the select permission on the customer object. Okay. I want to now grant him the insert permission also on the customer object. What I'm trying to do, I'm saying you grant select as well as insert command permission on the customer table to DE batch 3. Okay, I'm granting both the permission now to him. You can do select, also insert. Previously, he was not able to insert. Now let's see. He is able to insert the data set. Okay. Can he delete the data from the table? Let's see. delete from customer, where ID, where first let's see the data in the customer table. Customer table 94th row or 95th row is Rahul Dravid. So I want to say where ID equals to 95. This guy can read the data, he can insert the data, but can he delete the data? Delete permission was denied on the customer object. He doesn't have the delete permission. He cannot delete the data. I want to grant this guy delete permission now. Select, insert, delete on D batch 3. Same command stack. Okay. Now, once admin grants the permission, this guy can delete the dataset now. He is able to delete the dataset. Can he update the dataset? I think because he has select, he has insert, he has delete. I think update also should be possible, but let's verify. Control C, update table name, set first name equals to X, where ID equals to 95. Update permission is denied. Absolutely not. I can control whatever permission I want to manage. I'm giving you select, I'm giving you insert, I'm giving you delete. I did not give you update. So you cannot do the update operation. I want to control the update operation. How do I do that? Update. So these are known as the privileges. What is the syntax? Grant privilege on a specific database object to a specific login. That is how the command syntax goes. Okay, straightforward command. There is nothing. Grant a privilege on a specific object to specific user is the total syntax. Now I have granted this particular user the update command. Now he should be able to update this particular thing if the data exists. There is no data called as ID 95. That is where it couldn't do the update of the exercise. There is no row called as 95, right? So if I do the insert one more time, it will become 96 maybe. I think it will go as 96, and I can say make Rahul Dravid's first name to X, and he can do the update operation. Now I have granted the privilege. I want to revoke certain privilege from this user. Okay, how do I revoke the privilege from the user? I want to take out permission from the user. Revoke means what? Grant means you are assigning permission. Revoke means you are revoking permission. What do you do? Revoke privilege. I want to revoke the update permission from this user because I felt like last time he deleted certain record. I want to take out the delete permission from this user. Revoke the delete permission on customer table from. Here grant to revoke from. Okay, let's do that. I initially granted the delete permission, but now I am revoking the permission. What I will say, revoke privilege on object from D match 3. This is the user that we created. Okay. Now if I go and run this particular query, it will throw error. Why? Because I have revoked the delete right from this user. Create. Now are you able to understand the concept? Why? How do you control the data access to the user? You create a login, just create a login, and then you implement a security control language who can access what data. Though the user, there are hundreds of table available into my in my SQL server, this guy only can access customer table, and he can perform only three operations: select, insert, and update. He cannot even delete the data. Now I want to do one more thing, right? Can I create a view and I can grant access to this view? Even I will take out the customer table rights. In the customer table, there are 94 rows of data. I would only say create a view, create view, VW get employee as select star from customer. Let's first see what data is there. and then I will say who belongs to Germany only, where country equals Germany, where country equals to Germany. Okay, this is the only data set. In my actual table, there are 93 rows of data, but this particular query that satisfies Germany as the data set only has 11 rows of data. I want to create a view called as create view VW get employee, and I want to wrap the control under that. I have created a view now. Now what I will do, I will say show me the data in the view, select star from the view name. View is a named SQL query. When you call the view name, it runs the underlying select query. It run me only 11 rows of data. What I want to now do, I don't want to grant this user any kind of permission uh, on the customer table. I want to abstract all the data that is available within the customer table. There are 93 rows. I don't want to even expose 93 rows. I will say you belong to Germany. You want to only have access to this data set. Okay. I created a view. Now I will revoke all my permission granted to this guy. I will say revoke, control V, select, delete, insert. Whatever I have given, I am just taking out. Insert and update from this user. Okay, I'm taking out all this permission from him. Okay, now instead of that, I'm trying to grant another permission. I have taken out all this permission. So if he was able to do this, he is now not be able to do this because I have taken out the permission. What I will do now, I have created a view instead, and I will grant this guy the access on the view instead. Is it possible? Grant select only on the VW employee to this particular user. Execute. I have granted the permission on the view only. He was not able to select any data from the customer table. He was not able to see any data in the customer, correct? Now I have granted him the access on the view. Whether he will be able to select the data from the view, can you see? He can only get access even if he is not able to see the data in the table now. If I do a refresh on the table, he will not be able to see the table. Okay, table gone. He is not able to see any table. He can see what? On the SQL server, there is a view available known as VW get employee. Okay, he can only see the data. And then when he go into the view, he can only see the data available within the view. There are 93 rows of data available in the table. I didn't actually grant him access to the table and only asked him, being a lowest privilege user, you can only see people from the Germany related data. That is how you implement security control using views. If I could remember, someone asked during the view session, how do you implement security using the view? This is how you implement security using a view. Okay, views grant abstracts the data underneath the table. Is that understanding correct? You can actually filter out the data. Actual table has 93 rows. The view is only containing data from country Germany. Now using the view, I could implement a security control for the user called as DE-batch3, which is the SQL login you identified with a password, right? And I granted this particular guy only access to the view. That is where he could only run the select query on the view, right? He couldn't see the data set. Clear about the grant and revoke permission, student? Any questions by far? Straightforward command. There is nothing to remember. Grant a privilege on a user on a particular table to a specific user. Revoke permission on the object from the user. That is the two command that is available within the grant and revoke set. Okay. Control R. I will save this particular file. Control S. Will say data control language. This mark your SQL complete, and I will send both the slide deck, and I'm uploading the slide deck into the Slack right now. Let me go back to the slide deck. I have given the privilege, all the command is written, your syntax is written. You would say what are data control language commands and syntaxes. Typically, developer are not asked with the data control language command anything, but somebody might want to check your knowledge. How do you write the data control language syntax? That would be the question that will be asked. And during the transaction control language, there may be a question around. I have given the example of this transaction, how one is completed, other is completed or not. We have discussed about this example. Notes I have given the run count. We'll see what is transaction control language, what happens when on nested transaction, inner transaction, one is inner, one is outer. Inner transaction is rolled back. We have seen this behavior. If inner transaction is rolled back, everything is rolled back. Okay, that is what the answer is. These are the two interview questions related to that. I'm going into the Slack, uploading the dataset and the file. Just a second, okay? Any question, please feel free. You have time. You go ahead, ask any question where you need clarity. Data control language, transaction control language. Okay, all the 4 slides uploaded into the Slack. Just allow me a second. It is uploading it out, and then I will send it out. Send. Okay, all given. Any questions by far, students? In any topic, today is the marker of our all the subject. We could complete all the DDL, DML, transaction control language, security control language. Most important part that you will be very much doing in and out is joins, subqueries, and SQL select clause. In your day in, day out, you will be writing thousands and thousands of select queries. That is what you will be doing. Being a data engineer, you may be doing insert operation into the table as well, but lot of data structuring and writing the SQL queries will happen. Any questions from today's two topics that we covered? Data control language and the security control language. Sorry, data control language and the transaction control language. Kalyan, Rafi, Manideep. Today, very less students are there. Uday Kiran, you have your hands raised. You want to ask anything? Uday? Kiran is saying clear. Engineer Delhi. What is engineer? Is TCL and DCL used by data engineer Delhi? Transaction control language may or may not be data control language. Absolutely not. you will not do anything being a data engineer on the data control language. Do remember, data control language is only used by the SQL Server administrator. Whoever is the administrator of the system, they will use it. Transaction control language, you may or may not, depending upon your need. Okay. If you need to write, there is a transaction you want to handle, you have written a procedure, within that you want to verify, and then you want to take a control of the transaction, then only you can write. But I have not seen during a data engineering exercise you will do a transaction control. You may write begin, try, exception handling. Transaction controls are very rare operation that you should do during a bulk data loading exercise. Got it, Rafi? It depends upon may or may not, depending upon your need, depending upon your data set and stuff.
So can you hear me?
Yeah.
So you said grant privileges on specific objects, right? So
Correct.
what are the other objects other than the tables and views? Like, can we give permissions to like procedures and all like that?
Yes, absolutely. Whatever object is available. That's a very nice question. Okay, let me show you what privileges are available. How do you know what privileges are available? Okay, very straightforward. Go to SQL Server, go to this login. We created this user, right? How do I know what privilege? You know that select, insert, update, delete command. But other than that, any other privileges are there? How do I know? You go to the security, go to the login, go to this guy what you have created, D batch 3. D batch 3, right click on it. Go to the properties. Within this property, can you see something called as securables? These are your permissions. Can you see that? These are all your permission that you can grant this user to. Okay.
Okay.
These are one. That is one set. There is another option to see that. Go to the database. Okay. Watch carefully here. Go to the database. I am just minimizing. Go not now. Don't go to the login. Go to the database. Go to the security. There are two security nodes. One at the server level. At server level, one security. One security at the database level. Go to the security level. Go to the users. Whatever login you have created, that login will also be available under the users security. Okay, under the database. Go to the database user dbatch 3. Right click on it. Go to the properties. Can you see securables here? I am highlighting in the securable node. What are the security that you want to implement? These are the privilege that you want to grant. Can you see? Alter command, control command, delete command, insert command, select command, take ownership command, update command, view change command, view definition command. These are the grant you can do. Clear about that, Rafi?
Yeah, sir. Sir, what like on which objects we can, like, how can we see that on which objects we can grant permissions?
You can actually, so you want to see that, right? So here if you see D batch 3 is granted permission on the BW get employee object. Can you see that here highlighted line?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I want to grant a permission, delete permission to this user also. I can grant that. I can just see grant or deny. There are two options. If I say grant insert, then he will be able to insert. Deny delete, that means he will not be able to delete. Deny alter, that means he will not be able to do the alter view also, right? That is how the grant and deny operations work. Okay. You want to search for more object, go and search for the object. Within the search, it will say what type of object you want to search. All object types. Okay.
Okay.
It will tell you some tables. Show me all the tables. All the tables came out. Right? This is how you will select what object you want to grant permission on, what you don't want to, right? So for employee 3, I am trying to grant him the select, right? You can do that and hit OK. That's all. Done. Go to the D batch 3 again. Do right click, properties. Securable, you can see employee 3 he can view and get employee 3. He will be able to view the table, and employee 3 table he can do the select operation. This is how you can see different type of permission available within a database object.
Okay.
Clear?
Okay. Yes, sir. So one more question I had.
Go ahead.
So in the previous sessions, we discussed that nth highest salary without top and limit, right? So now can
Correct.
we do that using the rank function, correct?
Absolutely. You want to see
Yeah.
that? How do we do that? Okay, let's go ahead and do this. We have a table called as select star from employee salary. I think employee table is there. Let us go ahead. Tables. Where is the salary? Or why not we create a salary table? I believe employee 3 had it, or the customer had it. Where is my rank function? This is the DCL. Close it. This is the testing query. Close it. This is the transaction control language. Close it. Yeah, within the transaction, it is not there. I think we had that particular query written in. Let me figure out. One was diesel data loading. I'll just do the data modification. Yeah, this is the query. Okay, let's see. We'll create a table. Okay, create table, table employee, TBL employee. I will have ID, first name, ID, INT, identity. I will have first name, varchar 200, and then I will have salary. It is a number. So I will say decimal 12 2. 10 digit 12 2 means what? 10 digit will be out of the 12 minus 2. That is how the decimal works. 12 minus 2. 2 digit will be fractional part. 10 digit will be the numeric part. Okay. So we'll do that. And then we'll insert a few rows of data into the table. Insert into TWL employee. We'll try to insert a few rows employee, and then I will say employee name is A. Employee name is A. Salary is 10,000. I will copy the data set. VALUES values. Control C. Enter. Control V. Enter. Control V. Enter. Control V. Enter. Control V. 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 Okay. A1. A2. A3. A4. A5. A6. A7. A8. A9. A10. These are my employee name. Somebody is getting 10,000, somebody is getting 20,000, somebody is getting 22,000, somebody is getting 13,000, somebody is getting 35,000, somebody is getting 45,000, somebody also getting 45,000, somebody else is getting 32,000, somebody is getting 55,000, somebody getting 66,000, somebody getting 1,000. Okay, I got a table created and I'm trying to insert a few rows into the table. We have the data available. Now my question, tell me the highest salary. So select star from TBL employee. This is the first form that we'll do. Select star from TBL employee. I could see different employee. There are 11 employee. There are different first name. There are different type of salary. How do I find out my highest salary with the second highest salary? How do I do that? Okay, do you remember, this is the exercise, this is the fast form you can leverage to do this. Okay, form 1 using a subquery. How do we do that? Subquery. First, what I will do, I will try to get select top 2 salary from employee table. Order by salary descending. What I will try to do, I will get top 2 salary from the salary table order by salary descending. I could see 2 salaries, 60 and 55,000. Somebody asked me second highest salary, 60,000 and 50,000. Okay. Can I do then select top 1 salary from this particular query order by salary ascending. I have to give a name to the subquery. Okay. Because it is a subquery, I'm saying select top 1 salary from a table name. I'm using a subquery as a table. Can you see that? What I'm doing? This is a subquery. Select top 2 salary from the table employee, order by the salary descending. I'm getting 60,000 and 55,000. 2 salary I got because I have sorted them descending order. I could see that. Now I am saying select top 1 salary from the subquery as a table. Then I am going to do order by. First you get the data from the internal query. Then you do the order by salary ascending. First you got 66 and 55 sorted descending. Now I will reverse direction 55 and 66 and get the top one. Let me see whether I'm getting the second highest salary. Is that the answer? Second highest salary is 55,000. Somebody say get me the third highest salary. Query remains same. Subquery get me nth highest salary. Nth highest salary. This is the answer. First approach, you can get it using subquery. How did you do that? You use this particular form to get it, right? Second form. If somebody say nth highest, whether this particular form will work fine for fifth highest also? Yes, you just reverse to top 5 and then your answer is answered. What is the fifth highest salary? 35,000 is the fifth highest salary. Okay, it is answering the same question. Okay, so you can keep these queries handy for your exercises. Control C, giving in the chat window, keep it handy, copy it and keep up to this point clear. Now let's go back to the rank function. Today we studied about a rank function. Okay, and we understood a rank function can help me rank my numbers. Can I leverage a dense rank function? Because I understood dense rank is a very good function. It will, if 2-3 salaries are matching, it will actually give me the matching numbers. Okay, and it will not jump the bridge also. So can I use the form 2 dense rank? Form 2 using dense rank. Let's use the same command. What I want to identify, tell me control C, from this table you get the salary name, order by salary, partition by salary and order by salary. You partition the data by salary, order by salary, and you show me the name and what is the table structure. Table structure say first name and salary. Control C. I will say select first name and salary from, I will say select first name and salary from salary and then rank over partition by salary, order by salary as my lens rank number from table employee and salary. First use this query to see what is happening. Okay, I can see because I partitioned it over salary. If I partitioned it over salary, order by salary descending is not coming. Why? Okay, let's see. That's interesting. Okay, use the rank function instead. Let's see. Rank is also not giving. Okay, let's not partition it. Let's see. Yeah, I can get the rank of that. I can use the dense rank also. Dense rank. DEN dense rank. Okay, let's see. Because I know I have a few salaries, those are overlapping, like 2 employees having, yeah, this is actually helping me. Can you see? I can actually answer my question using the ranking function. Very good. Okay, what I did, I'm using the rank function to get a rank of each of the number that is available. Okay. Now, can I write, give me the second highest salary? I know I have rank all my user, and then I can use this particular column as a where filter. I will say where this value equals to 2, wherever the second highest salary that I want to get. If I apply this particular rule, then I should be able to do it. So because dense rank number is not a column, I have to say this. You will do this. Select dense rank number from this entire query as a table, and you will say give a name to the table where dense rank number is 2, second highest salary. This is not needed. Order by salary is not needed because anyways, if I do the dense rank, automatically will deal the dense rank on the salary. 60,000, 50,000, 45,000. This is dense rank. So I no need to do the order by here. I will just apply this particular query and it will give me the answer. Second highest salary, dense rank number is 2. I will just select the salary instead of dense rank. Control V. So I'm applying a filter here. What is my second highest or third highest or fifth highest? And then I can get my salary here. Second highest salary is 55th. Tell me the highest salary. This is the highest salary. Tell me the fourth highest salary. Fourth highest salary. Right? There is no fourth highest salary available. Is that correct? Is it true? Fourth highest salary is not there. 1, 2, 3, because I have used rank. That is where the 4 is missing. Because the 45 is dense. I should have used the dense rank actually. DNSE, dense rank. Dense rank is the right answer because dense rank doesn't skip over. It counted 45, it counted 3, 4, but then it assigned 3. The next number goes 5, which is the wrong thing. Let's do the dense rank and see what happens. In the dense rank 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can find the fourth highest salary. Fourth highest salary is 35,000. So this is another way of filtering the data set. Control V, send. Whoever asked the question, did you get the answer? How do you use the ranking function to get an answer for that?
Yeah, yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, you can use and remember this way of solving the problem. I have given it in the chart window. Please leverage it. Any other questions, student? Now somebody is asking between SQL and PostgreSQL. What is between? Okay, let's see. Can you hear me, Uday Kiran? Uday, I am not able to hear you. You want to say something? Sai Vijay is
Sir.
saying clear, sir.
Yeah, it was clear, sir.
Kalyan Vishnu saying something. In DCL, TCL and DCL used by data engineer daily. Like I explained, transaction control language may or may not be used depending upon the situation. Data control language, absolutely not. Okay. Sai Vijay is saying in future, we take admin role, then it's useful, right, sir? Yes. If you are joining as a SQL Server admin, then only you will be using it. And SQL Server admin needs a lot of different other skills. SQL Server developer doesn't need. SQL Server developer write code. Admin does a lot of installation, administration, permission management, security management, log shipping, mirroring, clustering, always on, lot of fundamental, disaster recovery, lot of other tasks is needed. For developer, data engineer, only the coding is the major skill. Do we have any major difference? What major difference between SQL and Postgres? Yes, there are. Architecture-wise differences there. Command-wise, very less. From the, that is where the beauty you will learn. Starting tomorrow, you will see that whatever you have studied, everything remains same other than a few minute SQL function. Approach remains same, writing remains same, syntax remains same, everything is nearly same other than a few things that you will know about during the session. The absolutely 80% match. Okay. Do you have any major that I answered? Any other questions, student?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm able to hear. Kalyan, tell me.
Sir, how to delete the role that we have created?
Delete rows that we have created. Delete
Yeah.
command. Delete from table where a particular condition is true.
And I have one more question, like what if I have forgot the password which I kept to the role? Is there any process of retrieving the password or need to create the role again?
Sorry. Can you repeat the question one more time clearly?
What if I have forgot the password for the role which I have
Then you
created?
don't have any other option. If you have forgotten your password, then you have to talk to the SQL Server administrator to restart it. But if you have joined as a SQL admin during the installation that I told you, you can go back and reset the password of a user. Say for an example, while we created the user called as this guy, D batch 3, data engineering batch 3. This guy forgot his user ID and password. You as an administrator can log in. Administrator will go double click the thing and he can change the password here. Initially, I did the password as ASDFGH. I can change it to 12345 6. Okay, admin can go ahead and change the password. Okay, and hit OK. And this guy need to log in, connect again. You will say SQL authentication. You will say new password 12345 6. Connect, and you are connected. This is the way you can do that. Only administrator can change the password. Next. I will give you a big project actually, student. Whoever has asked the question, can we have one assignment which covers all the SQL concept? I'm going to assign a SQL project today. I will explain about the project tomorrow during the start of the class, 10-15 minutes. I want you to think about online. So I don't know how we are going to structure. I will have a discussion with Ramya first and then let you know. Maybe we will assign 2 projects if possible so that you split between yourself, work independently, or you want to work as a team, distribute your work. Somebody doing some development, then merge all the record and then see how the project looks like. I'm planning to give you one retail website application, one Facebook like application. Design an Facebook application. One has to design an application like Amazon. Okay. I will explain the table structure. I will put forward my requirement. You build the entire application using all the things that you have learned. Okay. So project will be given by tomorrow. You will see that particular thing is coming up. Anything else? How is the confidence level, student, after so many session? Are you able to, did you understand all the concept, the SQL and join, subqueries, DDL, DML? Okay, fine. It is almost 2 hours and 15 minutes. I will take a pause here. We'll talk further around the PostgreSQL installation and start practicing the same setup command that we have studied by far in PostgreSQL, so that you get yourself versed that even if you are joining a company where SQL Server is not there, MySQL is there, can I sustain and survive? Answer is absolutely yes, because if you can learn SQL Server and learn Postgre, you can do any database programming in the world. Everything is exactly the same. Okay, because SQL is controlled by NSI. Whatever you learn here, it will be available there. Some here and there approach varies. Okay, we'll study from there. Okay, sir, excited to do the project, sir. Fine, take care. We'll meet tomorrow.